While Vince McMahon has had some amazing ideas throughout his career, he has also shot down some ideas which would have been unbelievable to see unfold. Most of these ideas come from the superstars themselves and could have created some truly compelling storylines and character arcs. It's hard to say if McMahon looks back on these ideas with regret, but these are truly fantastic ideas that should have taken place. So, let's look at 10 times Vince McMahon shot down amazing ideas.
Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our wrestling channel, Incredible.
Number 10. Batistas' Helena Swan song. When Batista returned to WWE in 2019, the idea was that this was Batista's final ever run in the company. Batista was going to retire against his former mentor Triple H in one of the top matches of WrestleMania 35, and Batista had a great idea to elevate the match. Batista wanted the match to be a Hell in a Cell match. Batista has implied in several interviews that Triple H was on board with the idea, but it was McMahon who ultimately shot it down. The reason that McMahon didn't like the idea was because WWE present the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view every year and didn't want to use the stipulation any other time outside of the branded pay-per-view. This was a lazy and frustrating reason for Batista, as he knew that WWE have used the stipulation outside of the pay-per-view before, including at the WrestleMania event just 3 years prior, as Shane McMahon took on The Undertaker inside Satan's structure. Number 9. The Undertaker vs. Daniel Bryan. Heading into WrestleMania 30, The Undertaker pitched to face Daniel Bryan at the show. When these rumors leaked online, fans were excited. The dead man had amazing chemistry with smaller talents, and this could have been an all-time classic. Sadly, McMahon shot the idea down. McMahon wanted Undertaker to face Brock Lesnar at the event, whilst Bryan would initially be booked to face Sheamus. Although Bryan's WrestleMania plans would eventually be changed, it was clear that McMahon didn't value Bryan enough to book him against The Undertaker at WrestleMania, which is a huge shame, as the two never got to have a 1v1 match. Number 8. Bully Ray. One of the most compelling characters in TNA history was the Bully Ray character. This character surfaced after the Dudley Boyz had broken up and the former Bubba Ray turned into a villainous, hateful bully. This character was incredible. Bully delivered some of the best promo work of his entire career, and the character even resulted in him winning the world title. Fast forward to 2016, the Dudley Boyz nostalgia run came to an end in WWE, and Bully pitched the idea of bringing the Bully character to WWE programming. This would have been amazing to witness, but McMahon said no. McMahon was concerned about their sponsors and the fact that WWE had a key part in the Be a Star campaign. Bully understood McMahon's logic, but it was a huge waste of such a gripping character. Number 7. John Cena retires Kurt Angle. Former WWE champion Kurt Angle was set to retire at WrestleMania 35, and Angle promised a huge opponent for his last ever match. Fans instantly started rumors that this was going to be John Cena. Cena was set to be at WrestleMania 35, and the history between Angle and Cena was too decorated for WWE to use anyone else. But on the Raw leading up to WrestleMania, Angle came to the ring and announced that his last ever match would be against Baron Corbin. This was a huge letdown, and Angle revealed in several interviews that he pitched Cena to be his final opponent, but McMahon wanted to give Corbin the rub. Angle v Corbin ended up being incredibly disappointing, and it was barely passable as a TV match, never mind a WrestleMania retirement match. It was a missed opportunity, and one that McMahon should no doubt regret. Number 6. The Tattoo. One of the top matches on the WrestleMania 28 card saw CM Punk defend his WWE title against Chris Jericho. The build to the match was personal and heated, and it could have been so much more memorable, that's if McMahon didn't shoot down Jericho's idea. Jericho wanted to tattoo his own name onto Punk's skin during the build. This was something in which Punk was very much in favor of, but McMahon rejected it due to fear that Punk may end up bleeding. Discussing the idea with Arda Ocal, the first undisputed champion, stated, "With the Punk thing, I wanted something that was really going to be personal, and my idea was to tattoo him. I wanted to tattoo my initials on him, which Vince loved, approved, and then came down to the wire, and somebody told him that when you tattoo somebody it bleeds, and he got all angry in that and not understanding the concept of a tattoo, and also saying, well, he's got so many tattoos, what's one more going to do? And I was like, you don't understand, a tattoo is a personal choice." Number 5. The Hulk Hogan heel turn. According to Hulk Hogan, he outright pitched a heel turn to Vince McMahon ahead of his loss to the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6. Hogan would discuss in depth his idea for a heel turn on the After the Bell podcast. Hogan revealed, "I said, well, how about this? When I put him over and hand him the belt and everybody's cheering for him, I get halfway down the aisle, but I just turn around and I just go grind him. And I want to be Hollywood Hulk Hogan," I said. "I want to be Triple H, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the ultimate bad guy." And he goes, "No, that'll never work." I said, "Vince, I can be a bad guy. I used to be a bad guy when I worked for your father. I know how to do it." And he goes, No, that'll never work, this Hulkamania thing. I think you just need to slow things down." Although everything that Hogan says should be taken with a grain of salt, this would have been interesting to see. Nevertheless, WCW would ultimately execute the heel turn for Hogan when he turned heel at Bash at the Beach pay-per-view in 1996 and formed the New World Order. Number 4. FTRKO. One of the biggest missed opportunities of 2019 was WWE failing to keep FTRKO a permanent thing. For some context, this stable saw the Revival join forces with Randy Orton in a feud against the New Day. Orton was so impressed with the work ethic of the Revival that he went to Vince McMahon to make it a permanent stable on TV, but McMahon said no. McMahon was never the biggest fan of the Revival, and it was obvious that McMahon didn't believe that Orton needed anyone by his side. This is a huge shame, as it would have brought a new lease on life to Orton's character. Number 3. CM Punk becomes the face of ECW. WWE's 2006 relaunch of the ECW brand was a complete disaster, and the December to Dismember pay-per-view was a testament to this. The main event of the show was an Extreme Elimination Chamber match for the ECW title. Going into the match, Paul Heyman pitched CM Punk to walk out with the ECW title and subsequently become the face of the brand. This pitch was reportedly supported by the then reigning ECW champion The Big Show, who was said to be a huge fan of Punk. McMahon loathed the idea and hated it so much that he went out of his way to do the complete opposite. Punk would be the first eliminated in the match, and the match would be won by Bobby Lashley. The pay-per-view was universally panned by fans, but it was Heyman who ended up getting the blame, and he would part ways with WWE following the infamous event. Number 2. AJ Lee as the manager of Dean Ambrose. Imagine a world where Dean Ambrose wasn't a member of The Shield. Well, it almost happened. In 2012, a member of the WWE creative team pitched an idea which would see AJ Lee committed to a mental institution. During her time in the institution, AJ would meet Dean Ambrose, and the two would eventually appear on WWE programming together. Ambrose and AJ would wreak havoc in WWE, becoming WWE's version of Bonnie and Clyde. McMahon, whilst interested in the idea at first, opted not to follow through on the exciting idea. McMahon would position AJ as the general manager of Raw, whilst Ambrose would debut a few months later as a member of the beloved stable, The Shield. Number 1. John Cena turns heel. Fans were eager to see John Cena turn heel throughout his run as the face of the WWE, and the closest fans got to a Cena heel turn was in 2012. Members of the creative team had pitched an idea which would see Cena turn heel ahead of his WrestleMania 28 showdown with The Rock. McMahon was insanely close to signing off on the idea, but he eventually nixed the idea and even informed Cena that a heel turn was never going to happen. Discussing the heel turn pitch on the Pat McAfee show, Cena stated, "I remember Vince toyed with the idea of possibly turning me heel for the first WrestleMania match with The Rock in Miami. And I told him, no problem, I understand, I'll do it. Just remember that we are so deep in at this point that we can't do it and then jump back because we'll be sunk at both ends. So if we do it, I have to be the opposite of virtue, I have to be pure evil, and we go all in. And from a believability standpoint, people always see me in uniform, because I want people to know that what they see is somebody they can relate to." He decided against it, and at that point he said, "Listen, I don't think we're ever going to do it. So you have the luxury of playing this character, but you always are going to play this character."
Choice is yours to make. You choose me, I'll do what I do.
Well, there you have it, folks. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.